So one question in the chat is, can we import the JAX feed object to ggplot2?
Can we import the JAX feed? What is meant by import to ggplot? I mean, ggplot is a graphics package, and we did not use ggplot for our functions, but certainly you could use that information. But I'm happy to discuss this maybe later on in a private email exchange or something.
Okay. So I have a question. So you said you haven't implemented yet inconsistency assessment.
Mm-hmm.
So but this is in your future plan. So which methods do you plan to implement? Because these models are Bayesian. So
yeah.
So far, for example, in NetMeta, we only have frequentist methods. So what kind of methods do you plan to implement?
Yeah, but we are using resampling methods also in NetRank in NetMeta. So and resampling methods. Okay, it's not really using the JAX methods underneath, but that could be another addition to NetMeta as well, to use. There are some JAX functionalities. This is just some ideas, not really really thought through, and you already found a possible problem with that.
Yeah, no, I'm asking particularly for inconsistency because, you know, when you combine different types of data, different types of studies, then the risk for inconsistency is quite high. So maybe also Tansnim wants to say something about that.
No, so I don't have, to be honest, anything to add, but yeah, I mean, because we have non-randomized studies, inconsistency is, I think it's even more important here. So, but we didn't figure out how we will implement that yet.
Okay. Then there is a question about the slides. So there will be, so the recorded session will be uploaded to the Cochrane Training website, and the emails of the speakers, I think they're already there. In case you need something to ask about the podcasts, I think you can do like Cochrane Training.
I can copy paste them also in the chat.
Or you can write it in the chat if you are fine with that. Is there any other question? Is there there are, I know you have worked, Guido, a bit about preparing a package for standard network meta-analysis in JAX. I don't know if this is already published in CRAN or not. So is this?
It's not.
Okay. So my question is the crossnma package. Is it dedicated to only combining different types of studies and different types of data, or it can be somehow a more general package that can be used either for a standard network meta-analysis model or for a more complex models? So do you plan to have two separated packages, in other words, or you plan to have one broad package that people can use for any type of network meta-analysis modeling?
Let me share my screen again. And we did not talk about this question, so this is not staged by us. There was also one question in the chat: Can I use this just for meta-analysis? And so, for example, here this is an example with the FLACE data set. This is just a pairwise meta-analysis comparing aspirin and placebo for death after myocardial infarction, I think. Classic example. And this would be here the command to run for frequentist pairwise meta-analysis. And let's have a look at the results directly. So this is here, 7 studies and so on, common effects results, random effects results, tau squared here estimated with the restricted maximum likelihood estimator, and so on. And what you could do at the moment is you could transform this meta-analysis object using this long arm function, which is part of meta, into a format that is needed by crossnma. Then what we have to do is we have to add here a design information. And if I look here at this data set, we see basically that now 2 rows here are for one study, comparing experimental and control and so on. And here are the information that we will need. Here the design information. And then I can run here crossnma model just using here this study data with the corresponding information, using here naive. Yeah, I think we have to provide this here because that's what expected by the software. Let's do this here without that. Then I think it says yes, there's some strange error that I will change. But if we run it like this here, then we get here a result. So here we see the model, and with the summary of the model, we can also directly see the underlying JAX code that is used. So, and as you can see, it starts here with 2 because the IPD part is missing. And what's probably more interesting is to have a look here at the results. So these are here the results then for at the bottom. Did not found, don't know what I did wrong there. So this is here for the common effect model using crossnma for a pairwise meta-analysis. And this log odds ratio is very similar to the Mantel-Haenszel estimator and so on. So this is a possibility to use crossnma for meta-analysis or for network meta-analysis if you would have the corresponding data set. And therefore, I do not think there is a need for another R package for Bayesian meta-analysis or network meta-analysis from my side, which I started to work on. If you have crossnma, you could do this. The other thing is the question whether this will be integrated into, let's say, NetMeta or so. This is not done yet. So at the moment, NetMeta, crossnma, they are 2 separate packages. We are using the netgraph function from NetMeta and crossnma, but the idea would be to have a more stronger interlink between the 2 packages to benefit from one and the other.
Okay, there is another interesting question. So how about the certainty of evidence when you incorporate various study designs? So I don't know if you know if there is any plan for extending the methods for certainty of evidence into the case where we have different study designs. Maybe
probably a question
ask me if you know something about that.
To be honest, how about the certainty of evidence inclusion and incorporating various study designs? I think this is
not about the crossnma, but maybe about cinema or
yeah. So yeah, cinema so far it's only for RCTs, so it's not for non-randomized studies. So no, and in crossnma, no, not so far. We don't have anything to check the certainty of the evidence. So
okay. Another question says, what are the unique functions of crossnma? I'm not sure I fully understand this question. So I guess all this can be found. I guess there is a help file that people can.
Yeah, and also in the slides we have workflow within the package, and we mentioned all the functions within the package. So
okay. And there's more information in the help file, I guess.
And also in the vignette, also.
And Another question, is it possible to use regression meta-analysis network? So network meta-regression, I guess, but not the Bayesian framework?
You know, everything is implemented in Bayesian, so
I think this is more of a question for Guido on whether there's a plan for NetMeta to implement network meta-regression in the frequencies framework.
This plan has been there for a couple of years, but we never found the time really to implement it. And yeah, so I'm not sure whether we will do this in the near future. One alternative could be to use crossnma, for example, to run this. Okay, then you would have a different estimator for the between study variance and so on. But personally, I'm not really just focused on frequentist or Bayesian. I typically see that to take the best of both worlds, so to speak.